In the small town of Abuken, there was a young girl named Amara. On the outside, she looked like any other schoolgirl, but deep inside, she carried a heavy heart. Behind the walls of her house, Amara was trapped in a world of hurt. Her father was cruel, and her mother, too afraid to stand up to him, stayed silent. The anger and sadness Amara felt inside grew each day until it spilled over into her school life. In time, the sweet girl who once loved to help others turned into the very thing she hated, a bully. Thanks for joining us on yet another story. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification button for more interesting stories. Let's dive into the story. Amara woke up to the sound of crashing dishes. Her heart raced, and she sat up quickly, listening. It was happening again. Her father's angry voice echoed through the house, and she could hear her mother pleading softly. Amara knew she should stay in her room, but curiosity and fear tugged at her. Slowly, she tiptoed toward the door, peeking through a small crack. Her father was towering over her mother, his hand raised as if he was going to hit her. Amara's chest tightened, but she couldn't move. Her mother looked up, and for a split second, their eyes met. The unspoken words between them were clear: stay quiet, stay safe. Amara pulled back, closing the door carefully. She crawled back into bed, hugging her pillow. This was her life. This was the place that was supposed to be her home, but it felt more like a prison. The next morning, Amara went to school, her eyes heavy from lack of sleep. She was usually quiet, keeping to herself, but something was different today. As she walked through the schoolyard, she spotted a small boy, Daniel, struggling with his heavy bag. He had been an easy target for others in the past, and today, Amara felt something strange stir inside her. Without thinking, she walked up to him and shoved him hard. Move, she barked, watching as his book spilled onto the ground. The look of surprise and fear on his face gave her a twisted sense of power. For the first time in a long time, she felt in control. Amara's transformation wasn't immediate, but it happened quicker than anyone expected. Every time her father's rage grew at home, so did her need to release her anger. At first, it was small things, knocking over someone's lunch, pushing her way to the front of the line. But soon, her bullying grew. She began picking on weaker students, calling them names, and threatening them until they gave her what she wanted. At school, Amara was feared. No one dared to speak back to her, and the teachers seemed to turn a blind eye. She had become untouchable, but deep down, Amara was still that scared little girl who heard her parents fighting every night. One afternoon, something changed. Amara saw a new girl sitting alone in the schoolyard. Her name was Ada, and she had just transferred to the school. She was quiet, shy, and didn't seem to know anyone. A perfect target, Amara thought. But as she approached, Ada looked up and smiled, a kind smile that took Amara by surprise. No one ever smiled at her like that anymore. For a brief moment, Amara hesitated. Maybe this girl wasn't like the others. But the feeling quickly vanished, replaced by the cold wall she had built around her heart. Why are you sitting here all alone? Amara sneered. Don't you have any friends? Ada didn't flinch. Not yet. But maybe I'll make some soon. Amara laughed, pushing her shoulder. Not if I say so. But Ada didn't move. She just looked at Amara with those same kind eyes, and said softly, you don't have to be mean, you know. You can sit with me if you want. For the first time in a long time, Amara didn't know what to say. No one had ever spoken to her like that, and it stirred something in her, something she had tried to bury. Weeks passed, and Ada's words kept ringing in Amara's mind. She tried to push them away, but they wouldn't leave. At school, she continued to bully others, but it didn't feel the same. Ada's presence had created a crack in her armor, and it was growing. Then one day, during recess, something unexpected happened. Amara saw a group of older boys bullying Daniel again. For a moment, she felt nothing, just the usual indifference. But when she saw the look of helplessness in Daniel's eyes, something inside her snapped. Without thinking, Amara rushed over. "Leave him alone," she yelled, surprising even herself. The boy stared at her, shocked. No one ever stood up for Daniel, especially not Amara. "What are you going to do about it?" one of the boys sneered. Amara clenched her fists, her heart racing. "I said, leave him alone." The boys exchanged glances, not sure what to make of this new side of Amara. After a few tense moments, they backed off, muttering under their breath. Daniel looked up at Amara, confused. Why did you help me?" Amara didn't know how to answer. She felt something strange, guilt, maybe even regret. But before she could say anything, Ada appeared beside her, smiling gently. "You did the right thing," Ada said quietly. For the first time in a long time, Amara felt a weight lift off her chest. As the days went on, Amara found herself spending more time with Ada. At first, it was strange, she wasn't used to being around someone so kind. But slowly, she began to let her guard down. She even started to smile again, something she hadn't done in what felt like years. Ada never judged Amara for her past, and soon, Amara found herself opening up about her life at home. She told Ada about her father's anger, her mother's silence, and the pain she carried every day. Ada listened without interrupting, her eyes full of understanding. "You don't have to be like him," Ada said softly one day. "You're stronger than that." Amara had never thought of herself as strong, but hearing Ada say it made her want to believe it. As time went on, Amara began to make changes. She apologized to the students she had hurt, though it wasn't easy. Some forgave her, while others still kept their distance. But Amara didn't let that stop her. She knew it would take time, but for the first time in a long time, she felt like she was on the right path. At home, things didn't change overnight, but Amara started to find her voice. She stood up to her father, not with anger, but with a quiet strength. And slowly, she noticed her mother beginning to stand up too.